When was the last time you did something that no one would ever see? No post, no story, no update, no proof. Just you. Because something strange has happened. We are rarely alone anymore. Even when we are physically alone, there is always an invisible audience. Watching, measuring, reacting, or at least imagined. You think in captions. You frame moments as content. You filter thoughts before you speak them. You rehearse opinions before sharing them. And slowly, without noticing, you stop asking a deeper question. Who are you when no one is watching? Not your profile, not your persona, not your curated identity. You. Strip away the reactions. Strip away the validation. Strip away the feedback. What remains? Most people don't know. Because we have trained ourselves to exist in front of others. Even privately. You start choosing experiences based on how they will look. You choose opinions based on how they will land. You soften parts of yourself that feel inconvenient. You amplify parts that feel impressive. That's performance. And performance is exhausting. It creates distance between who you are and who you present. And that distance feels like loneliness. Because even when people applaud you, they are applauding a version, not the core. The core remains unseen. And the unseen self begins to shrink. You start living outward, thinking outward, feeling outward, but rarely inward. This is the cost of constant visibility. You become careful. You become strategic. You become edited. And eventually, you forget what unedited feels like. Ask yourself something uncomfortable. If all platforms disappeared tomorrow, who would you be? Would your opinions remain the same? Would your hobbies remain the same? Would your lifestyle remain the same? Or would parts of you dissolve? Identity built on audience is unstable. It shifts with reactions. It bends with trends. It adapts to approval. But identity built in solitude is steady. It does not require applause. It does not require feedback. It exists quietly, authentically. And most of us haven't practiced that in years. We consume constantly. We compare constantly. We observe constantly. And observation changes behavior. When you feel watched, you act differently, even if the watching is imagined. This is why true solitude feels uncomfortable. There is no feedback loop, no reaction, no validation, just you. And that silence can feel heavy. But that silence is where identity stabilizes. That silence is where you rediscover preference instead of performance. What music do you like when no one else hears it? What opinions do you hold when no one else reacts? What choices would you make if they were invisible? These questions are not dramatic. They are foundational. Because a self that only exists publicly cannot feel deeply known. And what is not deeply known cannot feel deeply connected. This is why loneliness persists even in constant exposure. Because exposure is not intimacy. Visibility is not authenticity. Performance is not presence. Reclaiming yourself does not require disappearing. It requires practicing invisibility. Doing things without proof, thinking without posting, feeling without announcing, walking without documenting, living without narrating. Small acts of private existence restore internal grounding. They rebuild a self that does not depend on applause. And when that self strengthens, connection becomes real again. Because you are no longer presenting a version. You are presenting a person. The world rewards performance. But fulfillment comes from authenticity. And authenticity is born in solitude. So ask yourself again, who are you without an audience? And are you comfortable being that person? This is Unplugged Consciousness.